Hello, I see you want to get a private pilot license. This is a wonderful idea. My name is Alexander, welcome to Egmont Aviation, and in this video today we'll discuss a couple of things about private pilot license. First of all, we will start about the basic question what a PPLA is, which aircraft you can fly with this license, where you can fly, how to actually get this license in Europe, what are the costs of getting the license, and one of the biggest questions of all, what do you actually do after you already have a pilot license? So, first things first, what is a pilot license? Basically, it is very simple. Any pilot license is an analog of a driving license for a car. It gives you the right to operate a vehicle, but in our case, of course, it's a flying machine, an aircraft. Notice how I specifically use the term aircraft, as it is a broader term that describes everything that you can actually fly. For example, sailplanes, hot air balloons, helicopters, and of course, airplanes. Now today we're talking about PPLA, which is a private pilot license for airplanes. That letter A in the brackets specifies which category of aircraft you can fly. PPLH, for instance, would mean a PPL license for helicopters. PPLA gives you the right to act as a pilot in command or a co-pilot on an airplane engaged in non-commercial operations. Now this means that you can fly, but you cannot receive money for it. The only exception to this rule is if you are a flight instructor or a flight examiner, but this is a different topic to discuss. Therefore, the first thing we learn here is that if you want to fly an airplane without earning money from flying, you need to hold a PPLA license. Notice how I haven't mentioned which airplanes you can fly with PPLA. This is all because it is not a question about the license, but rather a question something that we call a rating. Neither have I mentioned in which weather conditions and/or time of the day you can fly. This is a very important question, as there are a variety of different ratings that you can obtain through additional training. We will have a separate, long explanatory video about the different combinations of ratings which you can have and which you can obtain through additional training, and I really suggest you to watch it. For now, let me tell you this. With a PPLA as a private pilot, you can fly virtually anything you want, starting from a small single-engine piston airplane like Cessna 152 all the way to a Citation jet. You can fly both during the day and during the night. You can fly both in good weather and not such a good weather. But again, this is not a question about your license. All of these are ratings that are endorsed in your license after additional training. What is important to note is that by the end of your initial PPLA training, you will get a license, which is a PPLA of course, with a single-engine piston land class rating. This will be the only rating you will hold, and this will enable you to fly most of the small planes with one piston engine in good weather conditions during the day only. Should you really want to fly something else, or fly in clouds or at night, just do the additional training, get the new rating and fly. Another great question is where you can fly. Good news! You can actually fly anywhere you want, apart of course from the airspace that is closed due to restrictions such as military activity. You can fly your plane, for example, from the European Union all the way to the United States of America. However, there is a little trick. Every airplane is registered and has a nationality and a registration mark, like a car. A little trick is that if the airplane is registered in the United States, you can only fly it if you have a pilot license issued by the US. This is a general rule. You can only fly a plane registered in country A if you have a license issued by country A. So if you want to fly an airplane registered in the UK, you need a license issued by the United Kingdom. The same thing applies for the planes registered in Europe. But the situation is much better thanks to EASA. EASA is the European Aviation Safety Agency. It is an agency of the European Union with responsibility for civil aviation safety. It carries out certification, regulation and standardization, and also performs investigation and monitoring of aviation activity. Now, what it does is that it cooperates with the national aviation authorities, or as we usually call them, civil aviation authorities, or CAAs for short. They do this with the CAAs of every EASA member state to standardize the regulations. Now, this is all very good news for us, because if you get an EASA PPL, which is basically a PPL license that is issued by the CAA of any EASA member state, because the rules are the same across all of the EASA member states, now what you can do is that you can fly any airplane registered in any of the 31 EASA member states. Now, this for sure widens the horizons of your flying. Now, let's imagine a scenario. Imagine that you have an EASA PPL-A and you want to fly a plane that is registered outside of EASA member states. There are a couple of options I can suggest for you. First of all, obtain a license of the country in which the airplane is registered through conversion or license validation. Second of all, rent a plane with an instructor. Now, because the instructor has the license of the country that has registered the airplane, you can enjoy flying without any restrictions. Plus, you can get extra experience and training. I particularly recommend this option for newbie pilots with low experience. This brings us to the question of how to get the EASA PPL-A. First of all, you need a flying school. All of the flying schools in EASA countries will have more or less the same standardized training course. It usually lasts from 3 to 6 months and includes a variety of activities for you to complete. Any PPL-A training course is developed by thinking about what knowledge, skills and attitudes you need to develop to exercise your PPL-A privileges. Also, it takes into consideration the documents that you need to have in order to legally fly. There are 4 things that you need to have to obtain a legal right to fly. First of all, it is a medical certificate to prove that you're healthy to fly. Second of all, it is a pilot license to prove that you're able to fly a certain category of aircraft. Third of all, these are ratings to prove your ability to fly specific airplanes in specific conditions. And finally, this is ICAO English Language Proficiency of Level 4 minimum to prove your English language knowledge. Therefore, we highly recommend you to begin this journey by obtaining a pilot medical certificate. There are 2 classes of medicals. Class 1 is for commercial pilots and Class 2 is for private pilots. They are a little bit different in the scope of requirements and validity periods. Your flying school will usually be able to help you to schedule a medical examination whenever you want. Once your medical is successfully done, you will begin your PPL-A course. In most of the cases, you start with the theoretical knowledge instruction. It should consist of a minimum of 100 hours that covers 9 PPL subjects: air law, meteorology, human performance and limitations, operational procedures, principles of flight, aircraft general knowledge, navigation, flight performance and planning, and finally VFR communications. These 100 hours are a wonderful opportunity for you to discover the main theoretical concepts of the flight. Nowadays, flight schools usually offer this training to be completed either offline in the classroom or online via such platforms as Zoom, Google Meet or equivalents. The choice is actually yours. Now, theoretical knowledge instruction can be done either in English language or sometimes in your mother tongue. I highly recommend you taking this course in English language. If you think about it, it actually makes a lot of sense, because most of the regulations, study guides, aviation forums, videos, etc. are all in English language. Furthermore, most of the airplane documentation comes in English. Now, an important thing to note is that please do not worry about the English level. First of all, you need only intermediate level, which is B1, to begin. As you study, your English language will inevitably improve. And of course, you can attend some English language courses. After the completion of the theoretical knowledge training, your flying school will register you for the 9 official PPL-A theoretical knowledge examinations at the Civil Aviation Authority. This CA would be usually of the country in which you are studying, and there are 9 exams because you have 9 subjects for the PPL. An important thing is that these exams are relatively short, easy, and of course the flying school will make sure that you are ready to take them. What some schools do is that they combine theoretical training with flying training, and some don't. It really depends on the methodology that the schools use, and to be honest with you, it works pretty well in both scenarios. As one of my instructors once said, to learn to fly, you need to fly. Therefore, the EASA PPL-A course consists of a minimum of 45 hours of flying training. I say minimum because it really depends. It depends on the personal ability to learn to fly and, of course, the weather conditions, because you need a fairly good weather to train. Some people complete the course within 50 hours. Others need 60, and for someone 45 hours is more than enough. Your flight instructor will carefully guide you through this experience and will make sure that you succeed at your own pace. Flight training includes a wide range of exercises to teach you basic maneuvers, normal, abnormal and emergency procedures. It consists of flying both in the vicinity of the home base aerodrome of your flying school and cross-country flying to practice navigation. These 45 hours include minimum of 25 hours of dual instruction. This is what we call flights with instructor. Minimum 10 hours of solo flying. This is what we call flights without the instructor, when you are the only one on board the plane. And out of these 10 solo hours, 5 hours should be cross-country, which are en route flying to practice solo navigation. These 5 solo cross-country hours should include one flight with a total distance of 150 nautical miles with transit landing at 2 different aerodromes other than aerodrome of departure. This means that you basically fly in a triangle, from point A to point B to point C and then back to point A. This flight gives you the opportunity to feel what you have really been trained for. You just take the keys from the plane and fly for half of the day alone. This is one of the best experiences during the whole training. The practical part of the training is concluded by the license skill test. This is what we call a practical flying exam with a flight examiner. For PPL-A, it usually lasts at around 90 minutes, during which the examiner makes sure that you fly in a safe manner. It is a straightforward exercise, and your instructor will thoroughly prepare you for this exam. Somewhere in between the flight and theoretical knowledge training, you will need to attend an ICAO English Language Proficiency exam. ICAO ELP will grant you the privilege to communicate on the radio in English language while flying. This exam comes in 6 different levels. So the exam results come in the form of so-called ICAO levels. And there are 6 of them. ICAO level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and of course 6. The minimum acceptable result is the level 4, which is considered to be an operational level. Level 5 is considered to be extended and level 6 is considered to be an expert level. There are people who prefer to attend preparation courses for the exams. Others prefer to just sit the exam. The choice is actually yours, and it really depends on the level of knowledge of English language that you already have. EASA doesn't legally require you to attend any preparation for this. However, there are 2 remarks that I want to make about this. First of all, I highly recommend you to actually prepare for the exam with a professional educator. These instructors will demonstrate you what to actually expect and how the exam is run. Second of all, if your general English language level is below the intermediate level, please attend the general English language course. Not only it will help you with the ELP exam, but you will also benefit from a greater understanding of the PPLA study guides. Some countries, like Slovenia for example, will also require you to sit an exam for English communication phraseology. This works on top of your ICAO ELP to once again grant you the right to speak English while on the radio. This is a super easy exam, and usually you don't even need to prepare for it because you learn phraseology as you fly anyway. After the successful completion of your PPLA theoretical training, ICAO ELP exam, English radio telephone exam, and PPLA license skill test, your flight school will help you to apply for the license issue to the CAA. It will take some time for the CAA to process your application, and once complete, you will receive your most wanted license. I know that this might be a lot of information, so here is a quick summary of what you actually get once you obtain your EASA PPLA license. So remember, these would be PPLA license, which grants you the privilege to be a pilot in command of a co-pilot of airplanes registered in EASA member states that are not engaged in commercial activities. Single-engine piston-land class rating, which grants you the privilege to fly single-engine piston airplanes which take off and land from hard surfaces and runways. Therefore, there's land in the brackets. Third of all, that will be pilot medical certificate, which demonstrates that you are healthy to fly. And number 4 would be your ICAO English language proficiency, which grants you the privilege to speak English on the radio while flying. By now, you might be already wondering how much all of this might cost in Europe. Well, it depends. Before we compare different prices, let's first have a look at how the schools form their prices. There are a couple of things to consider, and these things are actually considered by the flying schools when they combine all of those to form a final price. It starts with the cost of the plane rental, of course, which will be included with the flight of instructor work. On top of that, you'll have aerodrome fees like landings and parkings. You will have to include cost of fuel, cost of the theoretical knowledge instruction, cost of theoretical knowledge materials like books and study guides, theoretical exam costs, skill test exam costs, medical exam costs, ICAO ELP exam costs, and of course all of the taxes that goes on top. As an addition to those, you might also want to account for equipment that you need, such as charts, rulers, headsets, etc., cost of living during your training, and of course any traveling costs. Therefore, I must say that in 2022, the average price for all of those things combined would be around 15,000 euro. It might seem high to you, but I'm giving you a true full price with all the things combined. It might be less, it might be greater, this all depends on the flight school itself, the plane you will fly, and other extras that the school might offer. Because of this, when you see a price on the website or when you get a quote from the flying school, make sure you ask them about what is actually included in the price. Make sure that you calculate the full total cost of your flying training. Also, make sure that you have some extra money ready in case you need more flying hours or more theoretical training with an instructor. Now, this brings us to our final question. What shall you do after you actually get the license? First of all, enjoy flying. You can rent a plane or you can buy your own plane. The choice is yours. There are of course some pros and cons in both of the processes, which we will discuss in a separate video. Secondly, I beg you to continue your training journey. I highly recommend you to learn how to fly different airplanes. It will help you to build piloting skills, plus you will start to feel the difference between the various manufacturers, airplane types and variants. All of this will help you understand what types of airplanes you really like to fly. Also, I highly recommend you to learn how to fly at night, in the clouds, and how to fly a multi-engine airplane. This will give you a wonderful experience and a greater flexibility of flying. We will discuss all of these training programs in a separate video. It is worth noting that, of course, the training path in aviation is endless. PPLA can also be your first step in your future commercial pilot career. We will discuss the commercial pathway in aviation in a separate video. Finally, please keep track of the validity of your documents to exercise legal flying. Remember, your EASA PPLA license never expires. It is valid for life, which is a good start and some good news. Your ratings, on the other hand, do expire. Single-engine piston land class rating has to be revalidated every 24 months. Your medical also expires. Your validity depends on the class of medical, first or the second, and your age. And your ICAO ELP expires. Validity of ELP depends on the ICAO ELP level. It is very easy to work with this, just make yourself a note or a reminder in a calendar about when to revalidate these. Also, your flying school will always be able to help you with this. If in doubt, remember, talk to your flying instructor. All things considered, obtaining a PPLA is a wonderful and exciting opportunity to discover a new hobby for yourself or even to start a new career in commercial aviation. Whatever path you choose, whichever school you choose, I am sure that you're going to have a great time and an unforgettable experience. If you have something to add to this video, please post it in the comment section below. Should you also have any questions, please also write them in the comments and we will make sure to answer them all. I wish you a lot of happy and safe flights. Bye bye, take care, and I will see you soon in another video.